Y'all, I had the opportunity to chat with Congresswoman Julie Johnson, a representative from Texas, about the looming government shutdown and the bill that Republicans have put forth, which raised costs on everyday Americans. So stay tuned to hear our conversation.
All right, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you doing? Busy times in DC.
It is very busy indeed. It's interesting times that we're in, ma'am.
Interesting, very interesting to say the least. Can you kind of set the scene a little bit for us? What's happening with this looming government shutdown? It just kind of started to creep into our social media feeds. And what's this October 1st deadline I'm hearing about?
Oh yeah, sure. Okay, so the federal government is on a budget cycle that ends September 30th. And so if the Congress doesn't pass a new budget by then the government is prohibited from spending any money. So that's why we have a September 30th deadline to do something. And there's two ways that we could pass an expenditure budget. One is we could have it a true appropriations where we go through the process where we say we want to fund A, B, C, and D, and we don't want to fund E, F, G. We're very specific and we have a full budget process. We have appropriations committee to do that. The other way to do that is called a continuing resolution. And what that is, it's sort of the easy way out. It's the cheater's way out, for lack of a better terms, that basically says we can't get it together to pass a new budget. So let's just continue the old one for a little bit longer until we can figure ourselves out. And that's what Republicans have done. They have been unable to pass a budget. They've been unable to even offer a budget to go forward with because they just don't have it together. Their leadership is disjointed, it's fractured, it's not focused. And as a result, what they have done is they have offered what's called a continuing resolution to fund the government only for just a few more weeks, to punt this football down the road until November 21st, to give them a few more weeks to get it together.
Got it. So, my understanding is they have to work with Democrats on this bill, especially in the Senate. I know you're in the House, but especially in the Senate, they have to work across the aisle um, to pass a budget, and that's what would normally happen. But it seems
Well, you
like
know what? In
Republicans,
theory, that's what you want from your government, right? You
right?
want it to work. You want input from both sides because, collectively we represent the entirety of the American people. But, the House is very, very close. They only have a couple seat advantage. And so that means the country is almost equally divided. And so we want everyone represented at the table in order to participate in the budget process. But in the House, the Republicans are in complete control. If they don't pass a budget, it's on them. They're the majority party. They have the votes. It's not our responsibility to give them a terrible budget. They have the votes to pass their stupid budget that they put forth that's really harmful to the American people. But in the Senate, they have some different rules. They have the filibuster rules. They have cloture. They have other rules that they have to go by. And these senators know these rules. These rules have been in place for a long, long time. And if Republicans want to lead the Senate in a way that does not accommodate for the rules of the Senate, again, that's their leadership that's failing the American people.
Absolutely. Have they in the House? Have Republicans even tried to negotiate? Have they, or did they just introduce this without any Democratic input?
They introduced it without any Democratic input at all. So they haven't tried to work with us. They haven't tried to adjust our our demands, and our vision for what we think the American people deserve and need. This budget does not bring costs down for American people. The Republican budget takes away health care for 17 million people, and it does not lower any costs. I mean, this Republican budget is a disaster, and millions of people are going to be harmed for it. So I'm going to be voting against it.
Great. That's great to hear. And touching on your point about healthcare, that's been like a big talking point I've seen online. And it seems like affordable healthcare is a big thing that the Democrats are pushing for in the negotiation process. And Republicans seem to refuse to want to lower healthcare costs for everyday Americans. Can you speak to why that is and how this bill put forth by Republicans raises costs on us?
Well, you have to remember the Republican caucus's chief client is a handful of billionaire donors that fund their campaigns. And so they are taking away your tax credits. They are taking away lower taxes for you as an American taxpayer that help you take care and purchase your health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. This is going to affect millions of people. And Democrats have been trying to get these tax credits restored for the American people. And but the reality of it is the Republicans would much rather give a handful of their wealthy donors a tax break as opposed to the millions of their constituents to make sure they have access to affordable health care. And it's not just health care. It's tariffs, it's the cost of living, it's housing, it's everything. I mean, people are really feeling it in their pocketbook. And, Democrats offered a counter budget this morning to show the American people what a responsible budget looks like, where you can have, safe taxes, you can have an aggressive tax policy. None of us want to pay more taxes. I work hard for my money. Nobody wants that. But we do want responsible government and not government that just really hurts so many millions of people.
Absolutely. Can you speak? I haven't seen it yet. Can you kind of give me a rundown of what this counter Democratic budget is?
Well, right. Yeah. It restores the ACA tax credits. That's a really big issue. It funds Medicaid. Millions of people rely on Medicaid. The thing that just gets me, that I don't understand for my life is, so many Republican voters are on Medicaid.
Right.
It's crazy that these Republicans, that Democrats care more about their constituents than they do. I care more about Republican voters than these Republican members of Congress because I really am concerned about their ability to have health care and rural hospital closures. It'll just be devastating. And so it's just as amazing to me. But the Democratic budget restores all of that in a responsible way.
Yes, I'm excited to go read through it. And, I think the people deserve a fair budget that lowers costs, not raise costs to give
Absolutely.
handouts to billionaires. It's been a really disappointing to see the Republicans consistently prioritize billionaires over everyday Americans. And it just shows how out of touch they are with,
Well, you know what? It's the byproduct of not having good campaign finance laws. When one person is allowed to donate millions of dollars to an elected official's campaign and create, you know, independent expenditures and all these separate PACs, all these things, then what happens is then that elected official is beholden to that one donor, and that one donor wants to pay less taxes, and that one donor doesn't care if the rest of the people have health care or not. Whereas Democrats, we get our monies from the people, people who support us 25, $50 at a time, and so what, we work for the people, and so our campaigns are financed very differently, and as a result, who we're accountable to is very different.
absolutely. I think that's so true. And to go back, I think we're seeing the bill voted on, I'm hearing as early as tomorrow. Is that right?
Right. Well, it's scheduled for the floor vote tomorrow. I don't think they'll bring it up unless they actually have the votes. Because remember, this continuing resolution will continue to increase the deficit. And there are some on the far right that have campaigned on no deficits and have opposed this before because of that. So we'll see if they oppose it again. Part of the problem is we had 3 Democratic members die in office. So we were down 3 seats. We were able to swear in a new member this week. So we're up a vote. And we're going to have another new member next week. So they're trying to cram this thing in because the numbers are very tight before we add a vote to our coalition. And so we'll see. But it'll kick over to the Senate. It's my understanding that the Senate Democrats are going to hold firm and use the rules of the Senate that they have available to them that are different than what we have in the House to stop this assault on the American people that Republicans continue to do. And hopefully the Senate Democrats will hold firm and not support this terrible, terrible bill that the Republicans have put forth.
Absolutely. We'll see how things play out tomorrow. And thank you so much for joining us and for all of your work. Really, I am very disappointed that you are not my representative here in Texas. And so it's great to see this
I'll
legal
always be your representative.
Yes.
You don't have to
Yes.
live in the lines. I think
Yes.
you do amazing work. I love your voice. I love how You're committed to educate your viewers on issues of politics and bring a truthful lens to what's happening out there. And, to all of your followers and to all of you listening, pay attention to politics, because politics is going to do you, and it makes a huge difference on your ability to take care of yourself, your family, and have an easier time. So just know we're out here working. We're working really hard. We love to hear from you, and thank you so much for having me on. I always enjoy my time with you.
Yes, great to see you again, and thank you so much, and excited to continue to support all of your work.
Absolutely. Thanks again.